Jeremy, why not take a plea? I mean, the 2 misdemeanor charges that they got you with, you probably already have time served. You'd be out free right now. Why aren't you taking a plea?
The reason I'm not taking a plea, first of all, is because I'm not a criminal. I'm not going to be guilty to something I didn't do. I was on Capitol grounds, which is, according to Nancy Pelosi, the people's house. That's my house. I paid the mortgage. I spent 20 years in U.S. Army Special Operations in order to ensure that that house is supposed to be operating on the behalf of the American people. I'm pretty sure I have the right to go visit that house, to check in on my employees, a.k.a. members of Congress. But that point aside, there were permits for that day. I was legally permitted to be there as part of an event that was protected under the First Amendment. In fact, as a retired member of the United States military, I am subject to recall by the Secretary of the Army. So that recall would be on behalf of the Commander-in-Chief, the overall command authority of the United States military. Well, that day, on January 6th, the Commander-in-Chief was Donald J. Trump. And on a stage on White House grounds, the Commander-in-Chief told me that we're going to go to the Capitol and we're going to let our voices be heard. Now, I'm not part of the protest, but I am providing security for the protest. Therefore, the Commander-in-Chief just authorized me, as a retired member of the U.S. military, to go to Capitol grounds. Well, then how could I have trespassed? But see, it's worse than that for the government. The charge isn't that I was on restricted grounds. It is that I knowingly was on restricted grounds. See, I've not violated any barriers. I was following the instructions of the Commander-in-Chief. There were properly permitted protests scheduled for Capitol grounds. There were no fences, no barriers, no signs. Not one law enforcement officer is on any body-worn camera ever telling me to do anything other than move. Okay, well, he told me to move, I moved. Did he tell me, you are engaged in an unlawful assembly? No. Did he tell me to leave Capitol grounds? All he said was, move, 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 which is just a common chant that law enforcement in riot configuration give to move a crowd back. And that's exactly what I did. See, the government has no case. I've broken no laws. But see, what the government doesn't want is me telling the story that I'm telling you, the truth, on the stand. You see, I am the one guy of all the January 6ers that says, yeah, I used to do this for a living, and this is all very, very suspicious. It looks a lot like a clandestine government operation. And the funny thing is, I just interviewed with a podcaster that said he's talked to Special Mission Unit guys that were actually operating that day. And they're like, yeah, we didn't understand why we were there either.
Thanks again for spending this much time with us. Man, we really appreciate it. We're going to put together one hell of a story with this to push it out. So let's move on from.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you giving me the time, DC.